Quick disclaimer, I want to start by saying that this video isn't made to spread hate towards any other content creator and shouldn't be used as an excuse to harass any of them, especially with anything pertaining to their personal life or past mistakes. This is simply an important lesson about self-improvement, egos, and the importance of focusing on yourself first to ultimately improve both in games and in really a lot of other things in life. And like I say in a lot of my other videos, these are just things that have worked for me personally and might not work for everyone the same. And although it might be seen as a bit of a hot take, remember that these are simply my own opinions and don't need to be taken as fact. At the end of the day, I am literally just trying to help people out. And while the example I'm going to use directly targets people who have played Overwatch 1, the message itself is a lesson to be learned for new players as well as anyone else looking to improve. But if you don't care about any of that, here's a summary of what this video will be about from the end of my aim training guide. I am going to end this video with a bit of a hot take that a lot of you might not like hearing, but that's alright, you don't have to agree with it, it's just my personal opinion. While it is true that the game is a bit buggy and that can cause people to feel off with their aim, at the end of the day, it is the new game on a newer engine with different mechanics and changes like DPS speed boosts and other things. I feel like a lot of people got caught up in the it's the same game just a reskin as Overwatch 1 mentality and then just rushed into playing, then missing a lot because of not being used to new things and then blaming the game itself instead of trying to take the time to actively get used to it. When someone has an off game and then sees some big streamer say, there must be a bug in the aim system, they usually say, yeah, that must be it, and blaming the game itself instead of looking for self-improvement. I was lucky enough to not look at any Overwatch content at all the first few days of launch, so I didn't see any of the stuff others were saying. When I first hopped on, I played 2 quick play games and missed literally everything. Then my initial response was to just hop in the aim training maps and start improving. I don't know, I've started rambling and this might really age very poorly, and if there is a bug I really hope it does get fixed, but at the end of the day, blocking out all of the outside noise and working on improving yourself will ultimately help you out a lot more than anything else will. So yeah, that's like a summary of what type of lesson I'll be trying to teach in this video. All about the mentality that's holding you back. If you already understand the message and you don't care about some of the details and examples I'll be using from launch week of a certain content creator and prefer to learn more about like physical aim training things that you can do to improve, then feel free to just click off and check out the full aiming guide in the description that I made. And as for the rest of you, the content creator whose example I'm going to be using is Kephrii. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not making this to change your opinion about him personally or attack him in any way. It's just that a lot can be learned about how your ego can hold you back from your true potential by using how his launch week for Overwatch 2 went. To quickly summarize, the Overwatch 2 launch was filled with server issues and a lot of other bugs in the game with cosmetics, UI, and even Bastion needing to be removed because of his ult. Now, during the launch day, thousands of people who were actually able to get in were missing shots and saying that aiming feels weird, including streamers and even myself. Like I said earlier, I was missing everything in my first 2 games. But again, like I said earlier, after I played the 2 games and missed everything, instead of running to social media and complaining about it, I decided to hit the aim training maps. Honestly, felt a lot more comfy with the aim in game pretty fast. I was still missing shots in game obviously, but that is because I just genuinely suck at the game. Anyways, as the days went by, I made sure to stick to my aim training warm-up routine thing every single day, ignoring what anyone else had to say about the game, and aiming felt better and better each day. Now, when I decided to catch up on all the content I missed during the first few days, I noticed that Kephrii was swearing by an aiming bug that was causing the aim to feel weird. He claimed that everyone might not experience this bug, but some people will, and that thousands of people are experiencing it. On the flip side, when I looked at what other streamers were up to, literally every single one that I personally checked up on had just been grinding the game, already hitting max rank and hitting crazy clips in game, and yeah, just as crazy as it sounds, playing and adjusting to the game. But going back to Kephrii, he would spend hours and hours on stream trying to justify this bug, even tweeting some stuff about how unplayable Overwatch 2 is because of it, and yeah, you know. Now, don't get me wrong, I fully believe that constructive criticism is important, especially when it comes to new games that are actively looking to improve their user experience. In fact, even I have a lot of problems with Overwatch 2 that I would like fixed personally, despite it being super fun to me. But the issue with this type of quote-unquote criticism is that it is impossible to prove for himself whether it exists or not. Whether it is true or not that he was magically experiencing a bug targeting him and a small minority of players, it's the amount of people who would see his takes and instantly believe it to be the reason why they're struggling to aim, instead of taking the time to get used to the new mechanics. Like I said in my aim guide, there are many reasons why the aim could feel strange in Overwatch 2, from the new DPS passive to upgraded game engine and graphics to new styles of play, whatever it may be, mixed with the fact that a lot of people did have the mindset that Overwatch 2 is literally just the exact same game as Overwatch 1 with just one less tank. Obviously, if you have that mindset and try to play the game like it's Overwatch 1 without making any adjustments yourself, you're gonna struggle and play bad. But since kephrii has influence and his posts and streams and tweets reach a lot of people, the ones who refuse to drop their ego and believe that they can't miss shots themselves due to their own mistakes, will eat it up, and instead of taking the time to fix themselves and make adjustments to the new game, they will continue to blame this possibly non-existent and unprovable bug. Yesterday, Blizzard dropped a community post about the many bugs that they've been working to fix, other updates coming in the near future, and near the end of the post stated, basically, that even after the many reports about aim being off, they looked into it and are certain that there were no bugs in that department, and didn't make any changes. This is important because right after that, kephrii tweeted saying that they fixed the bug and quoted a part of the article, except that it was out of context because what he quoted wasn't the message that the devs gave. I did correct him on it and told him what they really said, to which he replied this. Now, you can see how fishy this looks to me from my perspective, because one, the quote out of context to make it seem like they acknowledged that there was a bug and fixed it, when they in fact said the opposite, mixed with the fact that this conveniently happened right after he finally decided to grind out some comp for a long period of time, makes it look like, from my perspective, that at some point during his 15-hour stream, he realized that maybe the aim isn't bugged and the game was just a lot more different than he thought and he was able to adjust. And that it was just convenient timing that this dev post came out so that he could have a scapegoat instead of admitting that there wasn't a bug after all. But like I said in my response to him, if he personally felt a bug and he personally feels it's been solved, then who am I to argue, right? Even if the chances are low, there's still a possibility that he was correct, even if to me it seems nearly impossible. But whether there really was a bug or not isn't really the issue. Here's the bigger issue with the situation. Kephrii's impossible to prove bug is magically gone, so now what happens to the hundreds of people who believed in that being the reason they can't aim, and now still can't aim because they spent the entire time believing in that bug instead of spending the time to approve and make adjustments for themselves? This basically means that there's no more excuses to make about them missing shots, since not only is the person that they believed about the bug saying that it's gone, the devs themselves even straight up said that it didn't ever exist. And don't get me wrong, they could have secretly fixed it and just lied about it in their post. Like, I'm not the type of person to defend any multi-million-dollar corporation. In fact, I don't care if it costs me the opportunity to ever be a sponsored Overwatch creator. I'll go on record to say fuck Bobby Kotick, or however you say his name, and fuck everyone in Activision Blizzard who was involved in the many sexual assaults, harassments, and every other fucked up thing that they've been up to. Many women from the Overwatch team themselves have come forward to confirm that none of it happened in the Overwatch department, so while I will believe them, it's still fucked Activision Blizzard as a whole until every one of those scumbags involved and Bobby are behind bars. Anyways, if you're struggling to aim and your first response is to blame the game instead of looking at what you can do to adjust or improve yourself, you will simply just continue to never make any progress at all. And that doesn't pertain to just aiming as well, it's the same for, let's say, ranking up. If you're stuck in a rank and lose a lot and just blame your teammates every time you lose, you just won't climb, and that's that. If you take the time to adjust and improve yourself and focus on your own mistakes and how you can avoid making them as often as you do, you will ultimately both rank up as well as improve overall. And even outside of video games, improvement starts with yourself. Everyone makes mistakes, whether it's you, me, or kephrii, but what's important is that you drop your ego, look at yourself first, reflect upon those mistakes, and avoid making them to ultimately become just a better person in general. But yeah, not even sure what to say here to summarize my point, but what I said at the end of the aim training video is a good thought to end on. Block out all the outside noise and focus on improving yourself, and you'll make more progress than ever before. If you made to this point, then honestly I am sorry that you had to go through listening to all of that, but just felt like I needed to let this all out before making any other content. And remember not to use this as an excuse to attack kephrii or anyone else. His bug wasn't the main point of the issue. The blaming everything but yourself mentality was. If any kephrii fans or even kephrii himself somehow watches this video, I hope you can see the efforts I've made to keep it respectful and how I avoided bringing in anything off topic from the past to insult you or slander you. It's just that your situation was the perfect example to use to get my point across in Overwatch 2. But yeah, this will likely be my last video on this topic. I do think that there's a slightly less respectful video that I might need to make about certain content creators' misinformed takes about console Overwatch, but I'm not sure if that'll happen anytime soon because I literally hate talking this much. But if you're interested in other stuff like fun mini widow montages or hero tips sometimes, or maybe even an unranked GM in the near future, then feel free to sub and I'd appreciate a bunch. Bye now.